Definitely a highlight would be last year, winning the World Series. But I think anytime we have an injury, that's definitely a low point because, at least for us, playing baseball has pretty much been our lives, at least for me. I've been playing since I was, 4. And so when that's taken away from you, and if you're not grounded and solidified and your foundation isn't in Christ, then it just like tears you apart. And I think that's what happened to me in my junior year in college, where I just had my first 2 years were amazing. And I was like, I just battled through some injuries, so I came back. I kept coming back, and I was like, I kept on doing better. But then, of course, I had a shoulder injury, so I just DH'd the whole year. And so it was like all about me. It was, this is my draft year. I got to do good. I have to do this. And I was just so worried about myself and what I thought was best for me at that time. And it just ate me alive. That anxiety just was through the roof, and that was definitely not a highlight.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, dealing with injuries, I think that's probably the hardest thing you can deal with. Just walking into that clubhouse every day and looking at your teammates, and you just want to be out there in the field. And by far, the ups and downs of the game, striking out in bad situations, whatever. That happens. You've done that your whole life playing the game, but the injury part of it, that is where some of my lowest points have been.
Just so y'all know, we don't want to be injured, if you guys thought that. So we actually do want to play. We don't like sitting down. So
payroll bandit.
Yeah.
Well, and guys, I'm gonna just change gears here slightly because we do have something that was pretty interesting that happened last fall, and I do want to spend a little bit of time and let Anthony talk about his experience in the World Series. It's what every kid dreams about. It's what every adult dreams about. What's it like playing in the World Series? And here you were, a Houston native, getting to go home and play against the team you grew up watching. Just talk us through some of that. Was there excitement? Was there nerves? Was it fun? Having to face all your family and friends, and they're all Astro fans, and I don't know, whatever. Walk us through some of that.
Man, it was definitely a whole bunch of emotions. A lot of good, obviously excited that we made it that far. But at the same time, the phone calls, the text messages, and we have a very big family. Both I do and my wife does as well. And so the amount of phone calls that we were getting, and then talking or hearing from people that you haven't heard from a long time, asking for stuff. And then it's weird how it works because the people that you're closest with, so I have like 3 or 5 close friends that I've stayed with all growing up or in high school, and they left me alone. And like they knew what I was going through, and then everyone else in my address book just called me. And so I think that kind of like hindered it a little bit of being able to enjoy the World Series moment. But obviously playing in front of your hometown, born and raised there, and that was amazing. And I grew up playing in that stadium too, so to actually every level to play there, that was actually pretty awesome. And then I think it was scary too because we actually made it to Game 7, the last possible game that we could have played, and I would have been very upset if we would have lost because we went all that way to get second place. But I'm just so glad that we won it.
Yeah, my experience in the.
Hey, that's a great point he made about playing Game 7, and I can fully understand. There's not a worse feeling in the world, the fact that 2 teams are playing in the last game of the season. Literally, you're the only game on the out-of-town scoreboard, everything, and you think one team is going home a loser that night, and it will live with you the rest of your life. It really will. I talked to the Giants players that we played against today, and they still struggle with it. But talk about, I don't say that I'm just saying that it's if you get that far, you want to win, right? And my wife reminds me of that too. That's a whole nother story, but you talk about the nerves. We try to say, hey, it's just another game. We try to downplay it. You're still going out there and playing the same game, but it's different. Talk through some of that. How did you kind of rein it in? How did you put the blinders on? How did you kind of talk yourself into not letting the nerves and the energy and all that kind of get into the way you played?
Yeah, the nerves were definitely through the roof, but I think staying grounded like I wasn't back in college, staying grounded in Christ and having, great fellowship around you. And, I'm still trying to just build up. So I lean on so many people that are further along in their walk, people that I can call, people that I can text, that I can talk to, and saying like, hey, I'm battling through this. Or, hey, this is what's going on right now. It's just so overwhelming. Just whatever. I just want someone to talk to. And there might be even instances that's going on with, my wife or your family members that you can't talk to about because it's about them. So you need someone that you can actually lean on and talk to and actually get it off your chest. I mean, transparency is probably the biggest thing that has helped me just grow so much, because I would just always bottle it in. And then the smallest thing would just ignite everything. So I think just leaning on him and then understanding that it is just another game. It's awesome, and the magnitude of it is probably blown out of proportion, but in real life, probably the United States only knows that the World Series is going on. I mean, no one's worrying about, I said this in interviews, that no one's worried about or thinking about, the soldiers that are fighting across the world for us, to be able to actually have us to be able to play this game, or, just whatever's going on the other side of the world. They don't even know that we're having a baseball game at this moment. And so just treating it actually as a game. And hey, I don't even know who lost the World Series last year or the year before. So, people forget about it in a heartbeat. I think the magnitude that everyone makes it such a big deal than it really is.
I got to say, watching you play, you didn't look like you had a heartbeat. I was really impressed with the way you seemed to be calm. It's just your demeanor out there in the field. I thought that was impressive. And just kind of knowing the situation, being from Houston. I got to ask you this question, though. Have you had the nightmare this offseason yet? The nightmare that you got to wake up and play Game 7 again?
No, I definitely didn't have that one.
So many guys that I've talked to, we always, that whole first offseason, it's like you kept waking up in the middle of the night going, I just dreamed we had to play Game 7 again. Because, it's like a pinch me moment, right? So, well, that's great you haven't had that.
I definitely did not.
Turned off. You can just leave my mic on, it's fine. Did you have that dream too?